Welcome to Season 5 of the Long-Winded One podcast. Listen as we showcase original work from top Royal Road authors read by professional voice actors. Hear interviews from your favourite lit RPG and game lit authors. Lastly, listen as the Long-Winded One tries his hand at his first ever lit RPG novel, The Four Treasures.
Excerpt of Newly Broke Heroine, written by Magia Swiftscale, read by Gwen Leitner. The day was cool and refreshing, the birds were chirping, the morning sun was creeping high into the sky, and Fiona Swiftheart noted only one thing out of place on her way to the palace: a lack of celebration and merrymaking. She had to stop herself and examine the normal bustle of activity outside the Kingdom Palace, where people came and went on business and to the adjoining office suites. The building was 3 floors of fancy granite and marble, stained glass windows, and arcane tapestries fluttering in the wind. The tapestries showed off the emblem of the crown and a steel-colored griffin with lazy animations on the colorful blue fabric. The usual chrome-domed knights that stood vigil on the grounds were standing there lazily by the entryway. One of them was leaning on his halberd like he'd been out hitting the tavern a little too hard, and made a sound like a backed-up washing machine, and was holding his head with his free hand. Other than that, it looked like a normal day at the steel-lined doors to the palace of King Greybeard. "Hey, Greg, did we get the day wrong? Am I early?" Fiona asked her assistant, who could not stop scribbling in his notebook. He peered up from the paper, a flash of puppy-dog brown eyes and light brown hair cleanly cut to medium length, and looking remarkably average. "I mean, it's Fears Day, right?" "It's Fears Day, Fiona," he sighed. "I, too, am noting a lack of partying going on here." "That's okay, we can fix that. I went and beat up a giant dragon lord, stole his stuff, and ended a war. Oh, and I made a dragon cry. That has to be some cosmic-level event," she declared with a gleeful smile and took a deep breath while clasping her hands to her chest. She was currently covered in silver and gold armor that fit her elven shape nicely, with greaves and gauntlets to match. "Maybe the guild got here early and they're throwing a gala inside." "Or maybe they forgot," Greg proposed with a raised eyebrow. He kept peering up at the windows as if noticing something she did not. Her pointy ears twitched at his suggestion. "Come on, Greg. I went and beat the Dragon Lord. I saved Fifdala from an army of cute, adorable little kobolds. And their overgrown, big brother, pain-in-the-butt, dragon. Kind of funny how that group of plushy rejects gave Greybeard so much trouble. But whatever. Time to get some loot and show them the Adventurers Guild had his back," she cackled while rubbing her hands together. But fashion first. She tucked her wavy red hair behind her long ears. It was always getting so frizzy. "Man, the boys at the guild never thought a lithe elf girl could pull this off, or slay a bunch of monsters, but I proved him wrong." "Your exploits are known," he said drolly. "Actually, you don't advertise it much. You should do that more." "Like, a lot?" "No, in moderation," he replied, with a hint of a crease to his lips. His gaze wandered to the gold scepter with the black crystal embedded in the holster sitting on her back. That infernal thing is whispering again." Just ignore it. That stupid dragon probably listened to it in his quest to take over the kingdom. And look how that turned out for him. I just love saying I got his magic stick," she added while skipping along. "Doug the evil dragon lived in a swamp and frolicked in the brackish wastes in a land called Sukitsup. Little kobold minions loved that silly drake and brought him tissues and chocolates and other coping plates." "Please, not again," Greg groaned audibly. "You have sung that infectious tune for the past 2 days. We understand you are enthusiastic over this victory." "I totally am," she declared triumphantly while puffing out her chest, and waved at the guards as she walked by. They didn't even ask for her ID. They simply waved her through. She was on a first-name basis with Greybeard now, and everyone knew her here now. "I do feel a bit sad, though. I put all those big-eyed kobolds out of work." I mean, should I have given him a job in the Adventurers Guild? No and no. Please don't. You have a habit of picking up strays, dangerous pets, and other bad habits. She stuck her tongue out at Greg as the doors swung open to plushily furnished flooring, accent rugs, and beautifully varnished wood paneling inside the palace. I still say you should have brought the Dragon Lord here as a prisoner. We blew up his lair and took all his stuff, and his guys never wanted to work for him again once they saw how much I humiliated him. Come on, don't be a square. It's party time, she declared while waiting at a set of double doors, and a guard in 2 shiny armor walked stiffly. 6 months, Greg. I prepped for that job for 6 months, and man, was it a cakewalk. Ooh, I hope they have cake here for the event, and snacks. They will likely have snacks, Fiona. He let a chuckle escape his lips. How do you eat so many snacks and stay Apex fit? It's a girly secret, Greg, she said with a wink from one eye. She gazed down at her weapon, a shiny maul. The Hammer of Bon. It had a wicked name. Yo, Greybeard's supposed to have a party. Where's the glitz and glamour, Chromehead? She asked the guard by the business room. They didn't call it a throne room around here. All work and no fun, she figured. The leading knight pulled out a scroll that unfurled far enough to hit the marble floor. The attendant loved to mark the arrivals like he was giving a speech. I don't recall anything huge, but I may have missed the memo. Ahem. The other guard opened the door to make the call out. Now announcing Fiona Swiftheart, first of her name, champion of Fiefdala, conqueror of the Dragon Lord. Oh my gosh, I have titles! She beamed and interrupted the man's train of thought, and the paper crinkled as he halted his reading. No, wait, I want another one. Fiona, the awesome baker. I want that one too. The man scratched his head and looked confused. I don't give out the titles. Well, who does? Take me to that guy. I want that title. I saved the kingdom, so I want a cool one, she said with a grin and leaned on her hammer. Nah, you know what? Put it on my schedule. Greg, write that down. Done, Greg declared and scribbled the task down on her to-do list. She was about to get a major payday, so shopping was next on the list, and she rubbed her hands together gleefully. She'd finally be able to have a girls' night out with her besties. She'd spent all her money on equipment for the task of fighting the Dragon Lord, but she hadn't even needed it. She wondered if she overpaid a little bit and wondered what she could get for selling this new stuff. It was shiny and expensive looking. Sadly, gold had been a little lacking in the dragon's hoard. Really lacking. It was like the guy had spent all his money on equipment, weapons, and armor just to fight her. Which made it funnier when she left him nearly naked in a swamp and took all his stuff. The shiny Chromehead hadn't opened the door yet, but had been getting a few whispered messages from an assistant, who poked their head out every couple of minutes. She tapped the haft of her hammer and leaned on it impatiently. Come on, I haven't got all day. I've got shopping to do and an early retirement to plan for. Did Greybeard decide to surprise me? How can it be a surprise if they know... You know what, sure, it's a surprise, Greg said with a small huff. The guard talked to the assistant again and smiled, but it was kind of an unpleasant smile. The one that people who had it in for you used when they tried to be polite in public. Your presence has been announced. They'll see you now. Cool. Got to go and get my loot. Then I got to go shopping, get a healthy round of drinks, and then a jacuzzi. She was buying a jacuzzi with that money. Magic had made life pretty livable in this place, without too much modern technology. The broad doors opened and she skipped in and saw... Hey, who are you? She demanded. She'd expected Greybeard, regal, middle-aged, handsome, and beardly, to meet her. What she saw was that smug, handsome, blonde-haired kid that had been hanging around the king, and he was sitting on the throne. That didn't bode well. King Greybeard wasn't going to like people messing with his stuff. She might have seen him around a time or two, but he hadn't introduced himself. She skidded to a halt when she realized that wasn't his shiny blonde hair she was seeing. It was the crown. Also, where's Greybeard? I thought he was tossing some big gala for me. And my buddies in the guild, they helped a ton, too. This has been Newly Broke Heroine. Written by Magia Swiftscale. Read by Gwen Leitner. Produced for Season 5 of the Long-Winded One podcast. The author and/or any present or future publishing company retains all of the rights for the associated work. This work was read by permission of the author. Hi, my name is Gwen Leitner. I'm a voice actor working remotely out of my studio in Midwest, USA. I specialize in character work for audio dramas, video games, and TTRPGs. You can find more info on me and my voice on my website, gwenleitner.com. That's GwenLeitner. Or feel free to shoot me an email at gwenleitnervo@gmail.com. I'm also on Blue Sky at gwenleitner.bsky.social. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you for joining us down this Lit RPG deep dive. Please consider giving us a review on Apple Podcasts and visit us over at longwinded.one, where you can see past episodes and find all of our socials, even our new Discord server. We hope you enjoy.